Hi guys, and welcome to my winter horse care tips and tricks video. So today I'm going to be going through a few helpful hacks and some tricks that you can do this winter to help you care for your horses, because obviously it's the hardest time of year to own horses and every little helps. So let's get ahead into the video. So the first couple of tips and tricks are to deal with frozen mornings, because as we all know, winter is here and it is cold. So the first one is the cat litter scoop hack. So in the morning when some of your buckets are possibly frozen over or your water troughs are, you can actually use a cat litter scoop. So obviously make sure it's a clean one and brand new. And what you can do with this is you can use one end to break the ice, and then you can actually use a scoop to sift the ice out of the water. And this is so handy. It saves getting your hands wet and having to put your hands in the water to get the ice out. And obviously sometimes when we break the ice, one, it can be quite hard to break, so this is really good, and two, it can actually be really sharp, so you don't want to be sticking your hands in there anyway, and you certainly don't want your horses sticking their noses in. So this I find really helpful, especially with my outdoor water troughs, because they always get frozen no matter what. So for my second tip, it's going to be how to insulate your buckets. So if you're using a water bucket instead of an automatic water drinker, this is how you will need to insulate them. So all you need is some bubble wrap, some duct tape and some scissors, and you just literally cover your bucket in bubble wrap. Make sure that it doesn't go under the base, otherwise obviously it might topple over. And then cover the bucket once you've done this in duct tape, just to make sure that your horse can't sort of unravel the bubble tape or bite it or anything, and it locks in all that insulation. And then that is it. You have an insulated bucket ready to fill and give to your horses. Okay, so the next lot of tips are surrounded by caring for your horse during the winter. So tip number 3 is to show sheen your rug before you put it on. So this is brilliant because firstly it just prevents rubbing, it removes all the static that you get, and therefore this reduces the amount that your rug is going to rub onto your horse's back, especially if you have a horse with a nice mane and you have a neck cover. Be sure to put lots of show sheen on the neck cover, and this will prevent any mane rubs that you might encounter during the winter. So now my fourth tip is surrounded about keeping your horse's tail clean. So during muddy seasons, the horse's tail is a nightmare to keep clean. So firstly, make sure that your horse's tail is nice and short. You just want it high enough that it's not going to drag in the mud or get clumped up with mud. And then secondly, it's to plait your horse's tail before you turn them out. You'll not believe how much of a lifesaver this is. It saves time when they come in, because it reduces the surface area of the tail, meaning that less of it can get muddy, and you can just unplait it and give it a brush through when they come in, and it is so much quicker than dealing with a thoroughly matted and muddy tail. So tip number 5 is how to stop snowballs from compacting your horse's feet and cause walking like they're wearing heels. So obviously this is quite dangerous, so it's really good to prevent it, and all you need is some hoof oil. So just regular hoof oil will work, and all you do is just coat the inside of each of your horse's hooves with the oil, and then this prevents the snow sticking and compacting in the hooves, and therefore preventing snowballs. And obviously you can use your hoof oil on the outside of the hooves as normal to lock in the moisture during the winter. And there you go, you have your prevention for snowballs. So my next lot of little tips are stable modifications, so things that can make your life easier this winter and something you should probably pop in your stable. So the first thing is the dreaded rug rack. I don't know about you guys, but I hate them, and this happens to me literally every single day trying to put my rugs on. So one way we can stop this and improve rug racks is using some vet wrap. So literally all you need is some average normal vet wrap, and you just take this and literally wrap it around your rug rack, and it just stops your rugs falling off and sliding. It literally, because obviously vet wrap is very sticky and it has sort of a frictiony surface, it just stops your rugs from just literally sliding off your rug rack, and actually holds it in place much better than if they're just sort of left as the smooth pole. So I'm eventually going to do this for all of my rug racks. I absolutely love this little hack. So my next little tip is to give your horses a salt lick during winter. This is really good because obviously when it's winter and their water is really cold, your horses aren't going to drink as much, meaning their water consumption is down, and that's obviously a bad thing. So in order to increase our horses' water intake, it's a good idea to have a salt lick in the stable. Your horses' increased intake of salt means that they're more thirsty, means that they will drink more, meaning a happy, healthier horse during the winter time. So my next couple of tips are all for mucking out. So I don't know about you guys, but I literally seem to spend half my life during the winter mucking out stables. It's literally all I do. So the first tip to make it much quicker is to use a metal grid for sifting through your shavings. So this obviously will only work if you bed your horses on shavings or something similar, but you can literally use any sort of metal grid you can find, provided it's big enough, and you can pop it up against the wall, and then literally just chuck your shavings through this, and it should separate your shavings from the poo, meaning that you can quite easily scoop up the poo, and there you go, you are left with nice clean shavings. How simple is that? So the next tip is, when your barrow is getting super full, is to use buckets, but use them wisely. So normally you think your barrow's full, I'll use a bucket, because it's not worth going and emptying a barrow just for a bucket or two. But what to do then when you need to empty these buckets? You've already got a full barrow and balancing just isn't going to work. You're going to end up with a mess. My little tip is to use the handles of your wheelbarrow to pop your buckets on, and then this means that your trip to the muck heap is so much easier and no spillage occurs. There we go. They are all the little mucking out tips to make life a lot easier on winter mornings. Okay, so we've dealt with cold mornings, we've dealt with carrying with our horse, and we've even mucked out. One thing that I will give you some tips on that is so important is to look after yourself this winter, because if you are not up and running, no one's going to be looking after your horses. So here are just a couple little things you can do to keep yourself warm and happier this winter. So the first thing is a little DIY that I'm going to show you, and that's going to be how to make some little hand warmers, because I don't know about you, but I get absolutely freezing when I'm around the stables, and it's always my hands that are so cold from doing rugs and picking out feet and dealing with water and just being generally cold and wet. So all you're going to need is some fabric. I believe it's cotton that you need that is microwavable safe. You're going to cut this into some squares of your choosing. I think mine were just a few inches by a few inches, and then you're just going to sew these 3 sides up, and then pop as much rice as you can in the middle. You don't want it like really overflowing, so like half full will do. And then you literally sew up the other side. Pop it in the microwave for 30 seconds and you have hand warmers, the easiest and quickest DIY you could ever wish for. These are so good for when you're popping around to the stables and you just need something nice and warm to warm your hands up. And also by putting them in your coat pockets, it means it actually warms the rest of you up as well. And so my final tip is a little bit of a bonus, because this was going to be 10 tips, but it's going to be use hand cream. Honestly, I know in winter I get dry hands, my hands crack, it's so sore and uncomfortable, and it just makes life so much more difficult. I use this little Norwegian hand cream because I find a little goes a really long way, and it actually is one that really works rather than me having to apply so much all the time. A little bit of this keeps my hands in really good condition. So those were all of my tips and tricks. I hope you guys have enjoyed this, and let me know in the comments below if you try any of these and what you thought of them. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to subscribe and turn on the bell icon so that you get a notification every time I post, and I will see you guys very soon. Bye.